Okay, so the anticipation for 28 years later, it's been, well, pretty immense, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a franchise with such a distinct feel.
Right. And as we sort of dive into the early buzz,
Yeah.
the big question for everyone, I think, is can it possibly live up to, decades of waiting?
Hmm.
Our look at the sources suggests a pretty clear answer. It sounds like this film was, well, worth the wait.
It really does seem that way. What's interesting from the early reviews, the whispers, is that this isn't just like another sequel.
Yeah.
The consensus seems to be it's a brutal emotional evolution of the franchise. That phrase keeps popping up.
Brutal emotional evolution. That sounds significant.
Yeah, and it suggests, it's not just about the external horror this time. The sources indicate it digs deeper into the psychological fallout, how people actually cope or don't.
Oh.
It apparently grips you right from frame one. You get that transition from the really unsettling, eerie silence of empty cities.
Which was such a signature of the first one.
Exactly. And then it plunges you into these, what sources are calling gut punch moments of horror.
Wow. So high impact from the get-go.
Definitely. Reviews are mentioning things like sound design, the visual style.
Hmm.
It all works to make those moments feel really visceral.
Okay, so for anyone listening, wondering if they should jump in, what are the specific strengths people are really pointing to?
Well, Cillian Murphy's return is obviously a huge talking point.
Of course.
And our analysis shows he's not just like making an appearance, he apparently delivers big. There's a new kind of weight to his performance.
So it's a real development for the character, not just fan service.
That's the impression, yeah. Like he's carrying the weight of those years. It's described as incredibly nuanced.
Interesting. And what about the core threat, the virus? How's that changed?
Right, that's another key thing. Sources are saying it's not just deadlier, though it probably is.
Huh.
It seems to have evolved in how it works, its nature, pushing boundaries, making things even more, well, complicated.
Complicated how? Like different symptoms
Yeah.
or...
Maybe not just symptoms, but the impact, the way it spreads, the kind of dilemmas it creates. It apparently leads to what's described as insane tension.
Well,
And that tension isn't just jump scares, it's more of a creeping dread, psychological.
right, that fits with the emotional evolution idea.
Exactly. The pacing seems key here too. Building suspense slowly before, the chaos hits.
It sounds like they've really thought about how to scare you this time around. Now, I did see a few mentions here and there of a few slow stretches. What's the take on those?
That's a fair point. It does come up, but often with the caveat that it's nothing that kills the thrill.
Okay, so not a deal breaker.
Not at all. In fact, some argue those slower moments are actually essential. They give you room to breathe, build character.
Right, so you actually care more when things go bad.
Precisely. It makes the gut punch moments land harder because you're invested. It seems like a deliberate choice, part of the overall structure.
It makes sense, turning a potential negative into a positive almost.
Kind of, yeah. It serves the story.
So if we pull all these threads together, Murphy's performance, the evolved virus, this intense dread, the pacing, what's the final verdict from the sources?
Well, the consensus really points towards top-tier storytelling. It's not just being seen as a great horror movie, but a really strong piece of apocalyptic fiction.
I praise.
Very. It seems to deliver on the genre promises while also, evolving the themes, which is why you're seeing ratings like 9 out of 10 pretty consistently in early takes.
Wow, a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. And descriptions like bleak, bold, and absolutely unforgettable. It sounds like it leaves a mark.
Bleak, bold, and absolutely unforgettable. That really sticks with you. And speaking of unforgettable,
Yeah.
there's that recurring warning we found. Go watch it before someone spoils the twist.
That's definitely out there.
Which, it raises a really interesting question for you listening right now. How does a single twist, just one narrative turn, manage to elevate a film to being called absolutely unforgettable? Why do those kinds of surprises have such power over us, making a story stick in our minds long after we've seen it? It's something to think about. The power of a well-kept secret in storytelling.